Hey, what's happening, you guys? Joshua Elder here with another video for you today. And I don't have my trusty whiteboard still. I've been really lazy. I wanted to do sort of a talking head video for you guys and show you the whiteboard and be all professional and everything. But I don't have that quite ready yet for you guys. It's been about 2 months since I moved into the house. Still a lot of things going on. We've got construction still going on outside of our house. So it's been a process. So I hope you guys enjoy this screen share video here. And I want to talk about something that I don't really spend a lot of time on. And this is probably 90% of your success. And that's what goes in your mind, programming yourself for success. So in this video today, we're going to talk about how to reprogram your mind for positive thinking and success. So if you're excited for this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if you're brand new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, because right now I'm uploading videos on a daily basis teaching you how to build a life and business full of freedom, passion, and fulfillment. And tick the bell icon to be notified of all future videos that I upload when I upload them. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the content here. Now, one of my mentors by the name of Bob Proctor, this guy helped me really understand the mind and what it looks like nobody else in existence. It's like we can picture a zebra in our mind. We can picture what a tractor looks like. We can picture what a garbage can and a house looks like. But can we actually look at our mind? Most people can't. They're like, they make up this sort of like the mind's just full of, I don't know, lines and spirals and all kinds of different stuff. So we can't really clearly see the mind. But once we really understand what the mind looks like and the different parts of our mind, we understand how we're programmed and essentially how we can reprogram different parts of our thinking and different parts of our habits and values and so on and so forth. So what I want to do in this video is show you sort of the process of going from somebody that is programmed and what that looks like to being able to reprogram yourself and create new habits. And one thing that I've learned, there's a book called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, and he talks about the fact that you can't get rid of old habits, but what you can do is override them with new habits. So what smokers tend to do is they don't necessarily get rid of the habit. They just replace that habit and override it with something that's better, that is conducive to whatever their goals are. But as soon as they sort of lose that new habit, they can easily be reprogrammed to that old habit again. So creating new habits, changing your mind it's a daily process. And that's why you see very few people in the world that actually succeed, is because they don't know how to exactly reprogram their mind. They don't really understand, again, what the mind looks like. So we're going to imagine that, you just came into the world, okay, and you're a baby. And this line, this kind of curved line, let me actually go over here and grab this pen here. This represents a baby's mind right here, okay? This is the baby's mind. Now, when a baby's born, their mind is completely wide open. They can't accept or reject anything. Everything that goes into the baby's mind creates who they are. So they have no programming, they have no habits whatsoever. Now, by the time that baby's 5 or 6 years old, they have habits, right? They have a completed, what I like to call, subconscious mind. This is all your programming. This is your habits. This is what was given to you at birth from your parents, from your ancestors, and sort of from your DNA, right? A lot of people have these beliefs like money's the root of all evil and certain types of people are bad, and all sorts of just weird beliefs that were just created because somebody said something. And what happens is we take on these beliefs without even challenging what these beliefs are and really testing to see whether or not they're true. So it's like saying, again, money is the root of all evil, but then you see a lot of rich people that have money that are really nice people, right? And then you see a lot of rich people that are bad people as well. Same on the flip side of the coin. You see poor people that are really good people and even giving people. They give what they have even though they don't have a lot. And then you have other poor people that are victims, that blame, that talk bad about other people, that go in the YouTube comments and drop F-bombs and say swear words and try and, cuss you out, So you've got different types of people, and we understand once we actually challenge our own belief systems that, wow, there are good people that are rich and there are bad people that are rich, and, the same on the other side. So once we begin to challenge our belief systems, we can actually change our belief systems and change our habits. Now, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, so let me digress back to what we're talking about here. I tend to do that from time to time. But we've got the subconscious mind that's now been created. Okay? Now, when you're an adult, right, you have this full subconscious mind. And again, I'm not using an actual mouse or a pen and a pad here. This is just all done by hand on my laptop. So you got the subconscious mind again right here. And then on top of here, you actually have the conscious mind. So this is really what the mind looks like. You have two parts of the mind. You have the conscious mind, which gives you the ability to think. It gives you the ability to reason. Your subconscious mind is sort of the automatic mind. It's the one that knows how to drive. When you first start driving, you have to actually consciously think about it. So you have all this information going to the conscious mind a certain amount of times before it becomes subconscious. So if you remember, when you were in driving school, if you obviously have been through high school and you're over 16 here in the United States, maybe younger in other states, you went through a phase where you really had to consciously think about, switching lanes and turning on your turn signal and making sure you brake at the right time and press the gas at the right time. And then, of course, if you had a stick shift, it was even harder. You had to make sure that you put the clutch in, and then you released off the gas, and then you put it into first gear, and then second gear, and then third gear, and you had to look around you and turn signal and look at your left, your right, and make sure that you weren't going to run into anybody, right? So there was all these things that were going on in your mind, and you had to consciously think about them. They weren't second nature. Same thing when you went to the gym for the first time. You went and worked out. You maybe did bench press. You maybe did some curls. You rode a bike for the first time, and it was difficult. You had to really consciously think about it. But through repetition, those conscious thoughts became second nature. They became subconscious. So that work and thinking was freed up so you can focus on other things. So what we don't realize is when things become subconscious, we have these habits that we don't even realize that we have. And we know we have like best friends that'll tell us like, hey, so-and-so, you've got this weird habit where you do this blinking thing, when you talk. And you're like, oh, wait, I'd never noticed that. Right? And so we develop these habits over time. Some of these habits serve us and some of these habits don't serve us. So the longer that you have certain habits that don't serve you, the harder it is factually to get rid of those specific habits. And so what we need to be able to change this is we need something called awareness. We need to know what it is that we're doing wrong, and we need to challenge those habits. We need to challenge those specific belief systems. So, well, how do we do that? Well, we learn more about ourselves, and this is something that they don't teach us in school. When you know more about yourself, you can more easily evaluate yourself and say, you know what? I have this belief about money. I have this fear about, failing, and I can't get rid of it. It's driving me crazy. But at least you know that through awareness, that you have that feeling. And then through understanding is what's going to allow you to change those habits. So understanding why you have fear, because you went through school, and you were trained that, getting a bad grade on a math test or a science test meant that you were a failure and that you were stupid. You know what? The IQ is just measured by where your mind was at a given time in a given place, right? It's not a good measurement of how smart you really are. Maybe in general terms, but in this day and age, it's all about specializing and not generalizing, right? And so when you understand that through the process of failure is the only way that you can get to success. failure is the prerequisite to success. When I really started failing in my entrepreneurial journey, it was really hard because I succeeded so much in school, in sports, but at the same time, I played it safe. I didn't really go the extra mile because I was afraid of failure. I was afraid of judgment. I was afraid of what my friends and family would think. And then I finally decided to take the leap of faith and just fell forward because that's the only option that I really had. And through that, I realized that, wow, after failing for so long and having my mentor say, go, Josh, keep failing, keep failing, keep failing, it gave me clarity on what worked and what didn't work. And so I failed at least 50 times before I finally had my real success. And I'm like, by failing the 20th time, I'm like, okay, failure is just a process. It's not as bad as people think, because you kind of get impervious to the pain. You kind of get used to the failure. And you're like, wow, I get it now. Like you can count the dots looking backwards and understand that, wow, I'm not the only one that failed. Like Thomas Edison actually failed. It took him, 10,000 times to, create the light bulb. Albert Einstein failed so many times. I actually just watched a documentary on Albert Einstein. And so a lot of this stuff, I just took it as like surface level value. And I was like, nah, they didn't fail that much. I didn't really know what failure was because I really didn't experience it like I should have. Until I did more research, until I started failing myself, I really started to relate with these guys. And so through this process of understanding and through actually going through the process of failing, I'm like, wow, all these people that talk bad about other people that are failing or that made a mistake in something, those are the people that don't take risks. And I realized that. The people, again, in my YouTube comments, the people, but just say any negative thing, those are the people that have never been through the process. Because if they've been through the process, they would have empathy and the compassion for people that have, because they understand the actual entrepreneurial journey. And the real entrepreneur respects the new entrepreneur that's going through the process, because most people don't take that risk because they're afraid of judgment. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So understanding what the mind looks like, understanding failure, and understanding just all these different imperfections that I had. Right? A lot of times I just thought I was like a broke human being. We have times in our lives where we think that, until we understand why there's stress, why there's anxiety, why there's malfunctions in the human anatomy. Once we understand that, we can more so accept ourselves and then move forward. So Bob Proctor has some really awesome stuff on the subconscious mind, and this chart here, he goes into even more detail and what the terror barrier is and how to break through and all that stuff. But I just really wanted to cover the basics that absolutely changed my life. And what I'm going to do in the resources section below in the description is I will post some videos that completely changed my life for the better. I used to watch these videos because I understood that I had to overlap all the negative subconscious programming with positive programming. And I knew that that wasn't just going to take weeks or months, but it was most likely going to take years. And so I would spend time driving around listening to positivity, listening to influential people, listening to things that were going to get me in the direction of my goal. So I spent less time with people that were negative and sort of separated myself from my friends. And I would listen to this audiobook by Bob Proctor over and over and over and over again. And then I'd watch this, I think it's like a 3-part video series that was made in 1988 by him. And I used to watch that thing day in and day out. And what I'll do is it's actually on YouTube. I'll link all this stuff for you guys in the description below. And I understood what I had to do to get to where I wanted to be. So if I woke up and I'm like, man, I have this fear, I don't know why, I'd ask myself, I'd gain understanding, and I knew what I had to do. I had to stop telling myself why I couldn't, because there's a lot of things that we tell ourselves and we don't even realize that we're talking negatively to ourselves. So we really need to self-monitor. And sometimes people might think you're crazy, but if you have to yell out cancel or stop when you have negative thoughts, sometimes that's what it takes, because what happens is when you move into action through not just talking to yourself in a positive way, but through body movement, when you combine those two, you embed these new positive commands, and it will help you eliminate a lot of this old garbage, this old information that you put into your mind that isn't serving you. So you've got to understand that, if you're listening to, like, for example, if you're in the gym, you're listening to positivity and you're lifting weights at the same time, you're going to embed that positivity in your subconscious mind, and you're going to override a lot of those negative thoughts. But again, it's through repetition, doing this day in and day out for months and years. And you know what? When you get into affiliate marketing, when you get into online marketing, online business, anything, because I do affiliate marketing, you're subscribing to personal development for life. That's what the personal development doctor, or I guess the business doctor or the life doctor would subscribe to you, is personal development. And I haven't stopped. I notice whenever I stop listening to personal development, negativity starts to kick in. My old programming starts to kick in, but I'm aware of that because I understand how the mind works because of this chart, right? So it's listening to positive affirmations, it's reading books, and it's not just listening to it, but it's what you feel as a result of listening to it. You don't just listen to it. You've got to feel it. You've got to agree with it. You've got to buy into it, right? And so throughout this process, I remember after 2 years of really listening to this stuff over and over again, I woke up one day and I'm like, man, I believe in myself. I can do this. I can make money. I can travel the world. I can have freedom. And when I finally realized that, I'm like, it's like I knew success was coming, and success is all knowing. Like, people that are successful know they're going to be successful before they're successful. And that was my moment. That's why a lot of people don't get that, like, that they feel like they need to see results first before, they can think that they're successful. But it doesn't work like that. You got to think success first and then speak it into existence. And because of what you believe and because of what you think and what you're showing to the world is what you're going to get back. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's thinking, whether it's really virtually anything in your life. Sports, you got to envision it. Whatever the mind can see, the mind will attract, right? So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, like this video, comment below. I'll link out everything in the description below. And so start listening to Bob Proctor, Napoleon Hill, Tony Robbins, Charles Duhigg. There's also another guy, man, what's his name? I can't remember his name. It's all about reprogramming subconscious mind, but I can't remember it. But I'll post it in the description below as well. Man, it's on the tip of my mind. But anyways, appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe if you got value, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.